everyone, we are live. Thank you for joining me for today's live and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Yen's Record. I am Yen. So today we are going to talk about education, and not just that, we're going to talk about the challenges of teaching Generation Z and a few strategies on how to keep them engaged in the classroom. So before we get started on the challenges, how about let us get to know who are our students first. Who are the Gen Z? So Gen Z are the first digital natives. They are born between 1997 and 2012. So in 2022, they should be around, for the oldest, they should be around 25 years old and 10 years old for the youngest. So this generation is born to be digital. They are born into a time where technology like tablets, smartphones, and vast of technological advances and innovations. So smartphones and tablets are not something that is strange or new to them because they are born surrounded by them. And one of the nicknames given to Generation Z is the Zoomers. Okay, Zoomer, because of the pandemic, their classes are held online through Zoom and other video conferences. So they are called the Zoomers. And just like any other generation, there will be certain challenges for the teachers when teaching Generation Z. Before we get into the challenges, let me show you a clip that I created through Plotagon on a scenario that might happen in today's classroom. So between the teacher and the students of Generation Z. Let's get to it.
Good morning, class. Please take out your textbooks and read page 32 to 36. Faye, wake up. Why are you sleeping?
I'm sorry, sir. I dozed off. But don't worry, I watched a YouTube video about this topic and I understand the concept. Took me less than 5 minutes.
So you think you don't need your textbooks anymore?
With all due respect, sir. Time has changed. I think it's important to find a method that works for me, the digital natives. Of course we still need textbooks, but maybe we can change it to e-textbooks. With traditional textbooks, I lost focus pretty easily. I don't do well with printed texts. It is not as engaging.
Fine. I understand how you feel. I take that as a feedback for my class. I will try to find more ways to keep the General Z engaged in class. I believe it's time for change, as well.
Generation Z and their audacity, they are certainly bold generation who are not afraid to say what's on their mind. So I hope you guys really enjoy that clip. So let's go back. Let's get started on the challenges of teaching Gen Z. So first of all, one of the challenges in teaching Gen Z is dealing with their short focus or attention span. So unlike the previous generation who can sit quietly during the class, Gen Z might find it boring to listen to long and monotonous lectures. As a Gen Z myself, I completely and utterly agree with this statement because from my personal experience, if it's a 3-hour class, the most that students can pay attention to what the lecturer is talking about is probably for an hour, and that's it. Then the students will doze off and they just scroll their phone, not listening to what the lecturers are talking about. So as teachers or lecturers, if you have a 3-hour lecture and your plan is to just talk or to just read from the slides, I think you need to rethink your lesson plan or strategy, because to be frank, if you're going to just keep talking for the 3-hour session, no one is going to listen to you. Because Gen Z typically have an attention span of just 8 seconds. 8 seconds, 3 hours, I don't think it will work. So I think that is why social media like TikTok are well known among Gen Z because of the short form video. So that is one of the challenges when teaching Gen Z is dealing with their short attention span. How do we keep the students engaged with such short focus span? So that is the first challenge. The second challenge that the teachers may face when teaching Generation Z is dealing with the influence of slangs and pop culture in their students' life. So Gen Z often associate themselves with memes, GIFs, abbreviation like LOL, TTYL, whatsoever, and slangs and other pop culture reference in their daily life. So if the teachers do not understand any of these, this can cause a generational gap between educators and Gen Z, and it can lead to miscommunication and misunderstanding. Gen Z will be saying things like, "You're cancelled," or "woke queen," and the lecturers or teachers who are listening to what they're saying be like, "What?" And it's going to be a challenge when teaching Gen Z because it makes it difficult for teachers to understand and relate and connect with their students. If the teachers understand the reference, it'll be easier to keep the students engaged and make the students feel welcome, happy, and it's easier to make the students laugh because, to be honest, Gen Z has a pretty unique sense of humor, or shall I say, they have a pretty broken sense of humor. Other generation will be laughing at elaborated jokes from stand-up comedy, but Gen Z won't crack a smile from it. But when they saw something absurd or simple like a broken toothbrush, they'd be laughing like there's no tomorrow. So I think this is a challenge for teachers out there who are teaching Gen Z to keep them self-aware of the trends and what their students are interested in to make the lesson more relevant and fun. So the third challenge that I think that teachers will face when teaching Gen Z is dealing with Gen Z's reliance on search engines when doing certain tasks. So search engines here is basically Google, Yahoo, or Bing, which I am not sure who still uses the last two. Students have the tendency to have the just Google it attitude when given tasks or assignments. Sure, you can say that they are using technology to make their life easier, but this habit is going to take a toll on their creativity and to some extent affect their ability to think critically. Therefore, when teachers urge students to share their thoughts and ideas, the ideas are usually not their own, but other people's ideas that they got from Google. So yeah, teachers might receive the same response and not much variety in the students' sharing. So the fourth and last challenge that teacher may face when teaching Gen Z is when dealing with Gen Z preference in learning, which is Gen Z prefers self-paced learning. Don't get me wrong, self-paced learning is a good thing. Students are more focused on themselves, on what method of learning works for them. However, this will be a challenge for teachers because in the classroom, there will be only one teacher in the class, and it's difficult to cater for the needs of every student. Some students may learn faster than the other, some prefer a more relaxed, slow-paced environment, while their friends want it to be quick. This is a challenge for teachers to give their attention to each and every one of them equally because they have different pace. So I have shared the 4 challenges that teachers may face when teaching Gen Z, and before I continue with the strategy, let's look at this clip. enjoy the short clip that I've shown you before, and let us continue this live session with a few strategies that teachers can use when teaching Gen Z. So the first strategy that I would recommend is to use short online quizzes. So Generation Z students prefer to answer short online exam. So teachers can use online exams, online quizzes like Kahoot or quizzes after every lesson to test the students' understanding. They will feel more engaged and interested to participate in answering the quizzes. The next strategy that teacher can use is to put students into small groups. So according to Rothman in 2018, Gen Z prefers to work in small groups because when they work in small groups, they can foster more creativity. This can avoid them to rely too much on search engines like Google and whatnot. It also gives students the responsibility, it also gives students a sense of responsibility to contribute to their group. So every person in the group needs to contribute something and they complete one another. The next strategy that teachers can also use is to use games in their learning. So games are very effective to review materials as it allows students to share their knowledge. Students can become very active and put forth a lot of concentration on the game. Gen Z students are virtual gamers and they love game challenges. So teachers use games in your classes. And the last teachers can use when teaching Gen Z is to give feedbacks. This is the most important strategy because when we care about what is happening to our students and their needs, students become more engaged in the classroom. Caring about their progress gives them constant positive feedback. Although we may correct their papers, we give them feedback on how they can improve and we motivate them by giving them encouragement. Positive words change people and we need to do this to our students. So everyone, I've shared the challenges of teaching Gen Z and shared a few strategies when teaching them too. I hope this live has been helpful for everyone who's watching, and come back soon for another live session. Thank you so much everyone. See you guys.